Alabama wide receiver is in the NCAA transfer portal as we start this Monday. Or in my own words, Eli, I got a semester left of eligibility. I got my cleats from high school. They're still good. My hands can still catch the football. My route's still pretty crisp. You know what? Let me go ahead and play for Nick Saban for a semester. Get me some NIL in here. But anyway, you're rocking and rolling high and short in the streets right here on a Monday. In my own words, touchdown, Alabama Magazine. Go ahead right now. Hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button. Get this thing right up to 50 likes right now at the gate. Daily Super Chat go $100. Daily Super Chat go $100 right there. We appreciate that coming from you. Also, hit that notification bell. Turn on all your post notifications so that way you get nothing but the best news, notes, and analysis on your Crimson Tide football program. Don't want to miss nothing there. We want to hear from you tonight, fans. You can do that by calling 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358 for number 2. Call in. Guys, shout out my man, Big Bill! Bill from New York, starting us out fresh out the gate with that $10 donation. Dancing Stephen back on screen there. Appreciating that as well. But without further ado, Eli, we're going to go to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up our amazing guest of the evening, the man, the myth, the bona fide legend, the boots on the ground for all things recruiting. When you look at Alabama for this 2023 class and beyond, we got my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA. Justin, happy to have you in here, man. How we feeling? What's going on?
I'm feeling pretty good, Steven. I'm just watching this transfer, all of this transfer portal news just pour out here.
Absolutely. So before we get into the first question here, Justin, I mean, you spent a great deal of time covering one Aaron Anderson, who becomes the latest name to hit the portal for Alabama, former 5-star in the 2022 class out of Etna Carr High School in New Orleans, Louisiana. Big-time speed, big-time playmaking ability, a guy that really played well in spring practice for Alabama, but thought would be he would take the field this season. He got hurt prior to fall camp, a little bit of a knee injury, and had to sort of work his way back. Are you shocked by Anderson's decision to pursue the portal at this time?
Yeah, I am pretty shocked. I think that did surprise many. I think a lot of Alabama fans are questioning a couple of things now because, of course, you look at what this whole transfer portal thing. There are guys in the portal you kind of understand. You kind of understand entering the portal. Trey Sanders, Amari Kite, they've been here. They've been in Alabama for years, and they've had yet to really crack the depth chart in terms of getting a meaningful playing time. So you understand that. But in this transfer portal world now, I think personally, I've said this in the past, I think I underestimated the immediate impact that it will have on college football. So this is kind of going to be, I think, the norm moving forward, where you're going to see possibly the worst case scenario if you're an Alabama fan, where you see a 5-star guy who didn't get on the field. You could arguably say because he was injured. Because heading out of the spring, you would have thought he was going to be one of the favorites to crack. I mean,
because he got good, Justin, in spring ball.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I think this could definitely become the norm with these new transfer portal rules. Of course, we don't know exactly why he is entering the transfer portal. It could be a lot of different things. It could not be about playing time. It could be about that he wants to move closer to home. Of course, we've seen guys come to Alabama and struggle with that. It could be a million different reasons why he's entering the transfer portal. But I think with these new rules and the way that things are structured, if a kid feels some type of way at one school, and he's thinking about transferring, I think his options that decision is a little bit easier to make with the fact that you can just leave and go on to another school and play immediately. But I think this could end up being a significant loss for the Crimson Tide, just based on Aaron Anderson's potential and what he could possibly do. Of course, he's working back from that injury, which is the unfortunate part. I guess for Alabama, you would say, and for him, he really didn't get an opportunity to show what he can do because of the injury. So this is a really, really interesting move here in terms of players who have entered the transfer portal for Alabama. I think this is the biggest surprise yet, in my opinion.
Moving from Aaron Anderson to this 2023 recruiting class, and Justin, the Crimson Tide pulling in a big, massive 5-star defensive lineman commitment by the way of Keon Keeley out of Florida, a guy that jumps off the page, physical, rangy, freakish athleticism, quick twitchiness, edge bending abilities, a playmaker on the field. And just, for you, for a lot of people, when he decommitted from Notre Dame, the thought process was, okay, Alabama's in play here. He decommits from Notre Dame. The Crimson Tide definitely in hot pursuit of Keeley, and ended up getting the yes from him for this 2023 class as National Signing Day approaching here on the 21st, that being next week. What effect does Keeley bring to this defensive line, primarily the defensive end position, when you talk about his freakish athleticism in this class?
I think you're getting exactly what Alabama is usually looking for, that outside linebacker position. A big, physical, long guy, 6'6". I mean, he already looks like he's going to fit right in to Alabama's outside linebacker room. He looks exactly like those guys. Of course, he's going to continue to get stronger, continue to get bigger and fill out his frame even more. It's going to be amazing what he's going to look like in a couple of years under the Alabama's strength and conditioning staff. But we had an opportunity to watch him play earlier in the season, and he dictated that game completely. The team that ran the football away from him. The quarterback basically got the football and ran to the other side of the field to throw it. He just ran completely away from his side of the football. So he is that type of guy. He has definitely earned that presence at the high school football level. Definitely, I think his biggest strength is the ability to get after the quarterback in passing situations. Whenever the quarterback drops back, he's going to consistently get back there with that quick jump off, with that speed, with that physicality that he plays with in terms of becoming a all-around edge rusher. I think he's going to be one of those guys who's going to thrive at being a pass rusher, at least early on in his career. I think he's going to continue to grow in terms of defending the run. I think he's really solid against the run, but I definitely think he can improve in that area. He's not going to be a guy who's going to drop back in coverage and be super successful in terms of probably dropping back in the flat and looking really comfortable there. I don't see that, but I think that's something that he's going to grow and continue to get better at. But this is a really good get for the Crimson Tide, adding to their 2023 class, 5-star. Letting a guy like him really helps the Crimson Tide get closer to being the number one class on every recruiting board. And just no matter what recruiting site you look at, with Keeley's commitment, the Crimson Tide are get much closer to locking up a consensus number one recruiting class.
If you're just checking out the show here on a Monday, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, right here on In My Own Words. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, breaking down this 2023 class. Speaking of trying to get the number one class for the Crimson Tide, you got two running backs here, Justin, Richard Young and Justice Haynes. Both look like they've been built in a laboratory somewhere. Justice Haynes looked like he's built like Derrick Henry / Najee Harris. Richard Young is hurdling like Najee Harris. I mean, these two backs are cut from a different cloth. Both 5-star talents, 5-star guys. Could this be the best, the most dynamic, the most gifted running back duo? Should Alabama sign both? Coming up on December 21st, could this be the most gifted 1-2 punch in the history of the Saban era at Alabama?
Well, it definitely has the potential to be a good duo. I wouldn't go that far. I think you have to prove it on the field. Under Nick Saban, that running back room has produced some great running backs. Look at the NFL right now you see Alabama running backs up and down NFL rosters. So they definitely have to prove it on the field, but they have the potential to be a pretty nice duo. The Crimson Tide have had several nice running back duos during Nick Saban's time in Tuscaloosa. But looking at Richard Young and Justice Haynes, I said they have two different styles. I think Richard Young is more of a physical running back than Justice Haynes, although Haynes is a very physical back. He's a tough runner as well. Both guys are elusive. I think Richard Young is a bit bigger than Justice Haynes for sure. So I think they can complement each other really well at the next level once they get an opportunity. I think this is a two-headed monster that Alabama is bringing in here in this 2023 recruiting class. I think Alabama fans should be excited about both guys, and both guys are definitely five-star prospects.
So, Justin, as we look at just this here, how many position groups do you see where a true freshman in this class can really, truly get some playing time starting up here in spring ball? Because people look at the defensive back room where Jaleel Hurley comes into play, Caleb Downs comes into play, Tony Mitchell comes into play. People look at the outside linebacker room. Maybe this is a spot where Keon Keeley could come into play. People look at the offensive line room. This is where Miles McVay could come in, Olas Anganine, a Wilkin Formby. People look at the running back room. Could Richard Young or a Justice Haynes come into play? So even in terms of the wide receiver room and a JUCO transfer like a Malik Benson, could he come into play? So how many position groups do you see where a true freshman can seriously make this impact and either get major playing time or start coming up here in spring ball?
Steve, I think you just answered your own question. I think with the mix of guys expected to go to NFL drafts, mix of guys graduating, and mix of guys entering the transfer portal, I think even something that's a little bit different than I would probably be thinking a couple of weeks ago, a lot more positions are open now. The tight end position, Cameron Latou is leaving. Alabama's looking at a possible transfer after offering C.J. Dupree out of Maryland. So that door is wide open for Todd Lockwood because the Crimson Tide is still looking for a tight end they can trust. The offensive line, several positions along that offensive line will be open. Javion Cohen has entered the portal. You have so many guys who are expected to move on. Emil Ekiyor, Tyler Steen. So the offensive line is going to be wide open. The interior defensive line, I feel like a lot of those guys still haven't proven themselves. Jaheim Otis is starting to come along. I wonder if Justin Boydby will come back. I think that would change things, but I think opportunities are there. At the linebacker position, opportunities are there because you're going to lose Moody and Toa safeties, DeMarco Held and Jordan Battle. I think there's so many different position groups, wide receiver. There's going to be so many positions up for grabs, and I think this 2023 recruiting class is being told that by Alabama's coaching staff. And I think that they are feeling that way because that is what you're hearing more so than I've heard in the past. Those guys are coming in thinking that they have an opportunity to play right away.
He is Justin Smith, people, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine, coming on here to drop down the 2023 class. That knowledge right there is Keon Keeley, five-star defensive lineman, becomes the latest name to commit. National Signing Day on the 21st. Next week, it is inching closer and closer to being here. Justin, as always, we appreciate you, man. You take care of yourself, brother. Be good out there.
You do the same, too.
Always fun to get a chance to talk with Justin here on the show. But right now, Eli, we're going to go to our first break here. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we dive into an interesting conversation. A couple of former Alabama players have brought this to the table. Should Bryce Young go pro after this year? Should he come back for a senior season? We'll talk about it after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
As we're back into the break here, folks, we're back into the action from the break on the hottest show talking Bama football, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. You guys know me, normally the energetic, jubilant individual, but there is some very somber news to bring here kind of at this time, and that goes to Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach, who is fighting for his life at the moment. Coach Leach on Sunday, a statement came out from the Bulldogs that Leach had a personal health issue. He was immediately rushed from his home via ambulance to the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson, Mississippi. There have been reports on different message boards talking about heart attack. That's been the report that's happened. Now, for me, was there any confirmation on this? I haven't seen any confirmation, but those were just the rumors and reports of Mike Leach. The word heart attack was put out there in the tea leaves, and there were certain statements and terms used by Mississippi State reporters saying that it was critical condition for Mike Leach, in need of a miracle of a 61-year-old head coach that brought such an innovative form to offense, the air raid style, which has really evolved into what we see right now in college football. Also, Coach Leach being a family member in the SEC. For entering his third season, so many coaches, whether it was Brian Kelly, whether it was Shane Beamer, whether it was the likes of Sam Pittman at Arkansas, so many people of SEC media have reached out to the Leach family, showing the love and the condolences and the thoughts and the prayers. So everybody here at Touchdown Alabama, our biggest thoughts and prayers to Mike Leach's wife and the entire Leach family, and for Mississippi State as the head coach fighting at this time right now. But we get into this conversation here, Eli, and this is pretty interesting because not a whole lot going on here in Bama football right now. Coach Saban, obviously, on the recruiting trail. He's trying to get the number one class in the country here for 2023. You've got Sugar Bowl prep that's about to start on Friday. Coach Saban will speak to reporters on Friday, so you got that going on. You got Alabama players accepting their invitations to the Reese's Senior Bowl, that happening. You got draft-eligible Bama players trying to figure out, do I play in this Sugar Bowl? Do I opt out and get myself ready for the NFL draft, the NFL Combine, Pro Days, all that type of thing right there. And then you got Alabama men's basketball, who's doing their thug fizzle. I mean, down by 15, came back and beat Houston. You take down North Carolina, you take down Michigan State, you take down Houston. I mean, Nate Oates is doing a darn good job right now. You got Memphis and Gonzaga coming up, but of all of this, the most interesting conversation has centered around one, Bryce Young. Bryce Young, junior quarterback from California. Bryce Young, who has accomplished so much in his career in 3 years. Heisman Trophy winner. SEC champion, two-time SEC champion. National champion in 2020. He was on that team. Maxwell Award, Davey O'Brien Award, Manning Award. So many honors for Bryce Young. This year, voted a permanent team captain by his peers. So much good, for Young. And even this season, he's had to overcompensate and overcome so many obstacles, so many pieces of adversity. We did a poll, Eli, for TDA poll here. The poll question was, for the fans, should Bryce Young pursue the NFL draft after this season? should he come back for his senior year. And the most shocking thing happening, there was a 50-50 split right down the middle. Half the fan base, go pro, get that money. Half the fan base, come back for a senior year. Crazy. And you look at two Bama legends in the Saban era weighed in on this. Trent Richardson, 2009, 2011, two-time BCS national champion. 2011, Trent Richardson set the then single-season school rushing record, 1,679 yards, 21 touchdowns, Heisman finalist in 2011. And then Tim Williams, one of the most ferocious pass rushers in the Nick Saban era, 2015 college football playoff national champion. We're talking about a young man that in 2015 and 2016 combined, Tim Williams, 19 and a half sacks, 28 and a half tackles for loss, 16 quarterback hurries. Both of these two expressed Bryce Young should come back for his senior year and push for that national championship. Trent Richardson was featured on the Developmental Focus Point, which is a new show to the Bama Standard that has Bo Scarborough, former Alabama running back, as the host. And so Bo Scarborough was with Trent Richardson and Blake Sims, former Bama quarterback. Trent said, and just speaking for him, he said, look, I wouldn't feel right if I left Alabama. I was the main guy. I was the leader of the team. I wouldn't feel right if I left Alabama without that national championship. And keep in mind, Trent was the main guy in terms of a running back perspective, 2011. He got Bama to the national championship. Bryce Young has a national championship ring from 2020, but he was the backup quarterback. He was behind Mac Jones. Bryce does not have one as the starting guy, as the man right here. Trent also mentioned, the NFL is going to always be there. League is going to always be there. But here is your opportunity to end your career with that ring, with that national championship. Trent also said, hey, the NFL is a business. You don't have a lot of buddy-buddy in the NFL. It's a business. And what you've grown to enjoy doing since childhood becomes work, and you think about it in a completely different light. Trent was laying some very valid points, some things to make you think a little bit on the developmental focus point, but his main basis was it just wouldn't feel right leaving. You being one of the guys, one of the leaders, and not having that national championship right there under your belt. And it kind of got me thinking, Eli, back then when Trent was playing, it was 3 and out, right? It was 3 and done. Especially when you look at Trent had 3 of his children while at Alabama. He had mouths to feed. You didn't have NIL then. A guy like Tim Williams, he had about 2 or 3 children himself at that time. So he had mouths to feed. But one NIL then. Now with NIL, and you can pretty much write your own ticket, and depending upon your base of popularity, Bryce Young, one of the more popular players, if not the most popular player in the league, you're making north of $3 million. There's an opportunity to, come back for another season instead of taking the NFL money. But then I also see it from the coin of, hey, you a first round, if you're the number 1 overall pick, you're looking at roughly a little bit over $50 million. That's a lot to turn down, $50 million. But me, you give me $1 million, I'm taking it. You give me $500,000, where do I sign? So it's a hard thing to pass up $50 million. But that was Trent's standpoint. Then Tim Williams on Twitter today sat there and said, Bryce Young, he to come back, win that national championship, do what other quarterbacks have done in the Nick Saban era, at Alabama, win that championship. Tim Williams referring to guys like McElroy, referring to guys like A.J. McCarron, referring to guys like Jacob Coker, who he played with on that 2015 national championship team, referring to guys like Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, who shared that 2017 national championship journey, referring to guys like Mac Jones, who took the team coast to coast 2020 in the COVID-shortened year to win a national title. And Williams saying Bryce needs to come back to win that natty, get that national championship. But these are two of the legends, two of the OGs here when you talk Alabama football, that they feel like Bryce should come back for that national championship. Forego the NFL draft. Come back. And they've received a lot of flack from that, their statements. But we're going to take a break right here, folks. When we get back, phone lines open. I want to hear from you, the Bama Nation. Smartest people out there talking college football. What should Bryce do? Should he go pro? Start that NFL career? Should he come back? Try for a national championship? We get your thoughts after this.
Nine players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, folks, we're rocking and rolling in here to the action from the break on the hottest show on these streets. Talking Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Appreciate all the likes and donations. Continue hitting that thumbs up, hitting that like button, liking the show right now. We're trying to get this up to 100 likes. Keep hitting the like button, showing that support. But daily super chat go $100. Daily super chat go $100 right there. Appreciate you. JD Long with that $4.99. Dropping the love in the hat. Appreciate JD Long helping us out right there. We go to the phone lines to grab your calls. Calls have been brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be made known. 205-448-1358. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stephen. It's Daniel from Phoenix City. How are you?
Doing great, Daniel, and yourself?
I'm not doing too bad. I'm very surprised with the Aaron Anderson thing. That I didn't see that coming. That was kind of
that was a shocker. That was a real shocker. That, to me, that goes right up there with Christian Leary and JoJo Earl. I did not see Aaron Anderson doing this.
For sure. And you know, I was looking at something earlier, and I don't know if you thought of this or not or looked at it. It was 6 years ago today Lane Kiffin accepted the position at Florida Atlantic. So
wow, okay.
6 years ago today. And the reason I say that, because I was curious to see, like, man, when can we maybe hear about Blob being gone? I'm not even going to call him by his name anymore, because it's an insult to people named Bill and an insult to the people with the last name O'Brien. I'm just not going to do it. But anyways, I keep checking your page every day, multiple times, just hoping to see he gone. But I'm sorry, that was mean, but it's truth. But anyways, do you think the Aaron Anderson thing still goes back to that, or is it just he didn't get any playing time and he's just mad about it.
I think Aaron Anderson goes back to the point of the injury for him came at the wrong time. His injury came at a very bad time because he was having a really good spring. Like, Aaron Anderson was tearing it up in the spring. I remember there was a clip that surfaced on social media, on Instagram. He caught a pass from Ty Simpson. He put moves on like 5 different defensive backs, and it took Malachi Moore to tackle him after he got about 40 to 50 yards downfield. And at that moment, I'm like, whoa, this Aaron Anderson kid's going to be a stud. And shortly after that happened, and when we got into the summer break, he hurt his knee. And I don't know how he hurt his knee. I don't know what transpired through that, but he hurt his knee. And that injury for Aaron came at the worst possible time because it caused him to miss summer workouts. It caused him to miss fall camp, and he had to work like crazy to get back, and the injury came at a bad time for him.
No, I completely understand, and that's unfortunate, and, we'll see what transpires if he stays there, if he comes back, but, I'm disappointed there. But moving on to the question you were asking earlier about Bryce, man, that is a polarizing question. I've seen people on Facebook seemingly getting the knockdown dragouts over this. Honestly, I could see it both ways. I can too. I could see why he'd want to come back because, why not, win a championship and have that ring as a starter? That'd be a heck of a way to end your college career. On the flip side, he could go right into the league and make the money. But I think it was Trent said the same thing, that they do have that draft insurance, so if you get hurt, you get the money, per whatever your estimated draft spot was. But man, what do you think? What do you think should he stay or should he go?
That, man, it is so hard because selfishly, as a person that covers Alabama football, I would want him to come back. But at the same time, you're looking at, he could be the number 1 overall pick. And if you look at different, if you look at things like SpotRack.com, which is a site that they pretty much project the contracts of draft picks. If you look at OverTheCap.com, they do the same thing. And for a number 1 overall pick, you're making $55-60 million. Like, that's a lot of money. $50 to $60 million, like right there in your right there. And then when you sign the check, that's your signing bonus. So you're looking at a $15-20 million signing bonus. That's generational wealth. Generational wealth, and it's when you're saying I got a chance at generational wealth to where my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren don't have to work, especially if that money is invested properly, and we know Bryce Young and his family, highly intelligent people, that's hard to pass up right there. That's tough. If it was me, I would go, but that's me.
Right, and I probably would be in the same boat. I just, like you, at the same time as a Bama fan, I would love to see it. On the flip side of that, though, I could see, and maybe I'm wrong on this, if he did come back, do you think that would hurt our QB room? We'd have some quarterbacks leaving?
That could be something there, because if you look at it, if Bryce comes back, you got to think, what becomes it? Would Milroe be okay with being the backup another year? Maybe he is okay with that. Maybe he feels like I need to start right now. You look at, if Bryce Young was to come back, is Ty Simpson okay with sitting around? Now, Ty Simpson made it known on the recruiting trail before he signed to come to Alabama in this recent class that it doesn't matter how long he has to wait. He is going to go through the process. He made that statement. So if he holds true to that statement, Maybe if Bryce Young were to come back, it doesn't affect Ty Simpson as much. And then you look at Eli Holstein and Dylan Larnigan coming in. Now, both of those two, they're freshmen. They're going to have to grow in the process anyway. But I think the biggest question would be if Bryce Young were to come back, is Jalen Milroe cool with sitting another year, or does he feel like, hey, I need to take my shot right now?
I mean, that's the same. I remember reading that same comment that Ty had made, because that's what I've been thinking. But I would really rather not lose Jalen, because I mean he's great. He really is. And again, if you give him a real OC, somebody that's actually able to call plays, I think you'd really see him shine. I really think if you saw him develop, I think you would. I mean, he would be great. I mean, you've said it yourself. He could really be something. But anyway, Stephen, I appreciate you taking my call. Great show so far, as always. I appreciate it.
Appreciate my man Daniel from Phoenix City calling in. We take this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from?
Steve, what's up with you, man? This is Jay from Florence, man.
My boy Jay, what's happening with you?
Chilling, man. Even the young guns know Bill suck. They getting up out of there, ain't they?
I mean, Jay, this one, when I saw Aaron Anderson, I'm like, what in the world? You just got here.
Okay. That was a heck of a left hook. I'm talking about knocking me off my feet there, Steve.
I'm like, the brother just got here and he leaving.
Man, because you know the offensive coordinator suck. I mean, these folks looking at Jalen Wyatt for Tennessee win the daggum Biletnikoff, and they like, daggum, I can get in the slot. I'm faster than him. I can get somebody to throw me a go ball every once in a while. Like, it just ain't making sense, Steve.
It's not, man. It's not. And going back to the previous caller there, Daniel is just saying, at some point, when do we see O'Brien take elsewhere?
Man, what? Like, what? Come on now. I understand all this. Nick normally do all that late and all that, but come on, Nick, man. Now we starting to lose people who we was looking forward to watching as fans. I'm pretty sure he was looking forward to coaching the man. Like, come on.
Look, I'm 100% sure Coach Saban was looking forward to coaching Aaron Anderson, Christian Leary, and JoJo Earl, all three of them, especially Aaron Anderson as a five-star. Yeah.
Just imagine them next year in a bunch formation, wide side of the field, in a hurry-up situation. We just going to keep trying. What? You can't stop that, Steve. You cannot stop them three, no matter who you put over there.
The three horsemen, man. The three horsemen.
This is sad. Roll Tide, man. I can't even talk about it because we all saying the same thing. We just waiting on the big dog to pull the trigger, man. Like, what's taking them so long, Steve?
I mean, it's like, Jay, you waiting on the results from a blood test, man, and you like, my blood has been taken, man. You stuck the same IV in my arm. Come on.
Come on. Roll Tide, man. I love y'all. We just got to get Bill out of there, and maybe we can weather the storm, man. Oh, Bryce coming back, Steve. I called in last time and asked you that. You said $50 million. I said, man, he made 10 this year.
He did.
Or that's what they telling us. So money ain't scaring us, and maybe them the old Bama players talking a little smack about him just to fire him up a little bit. Like, all right, I'm gonna come back with this championship the best way you've never seen it then. But I don't know, man. We can't do that with Bill O'Brien. So we still blowing smoke up our own tail. So roll Tide, guys. I love y'all.
Appreciate Jay from Florence calling in right there on a Monday. We go to this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen, hi, man. Bill from New York. What's up?
Doing good, Bill, doing good. Bama got Keon Keeley in here, 5-star from Florida. This 2023 class looking really, really, really nice.
It's all good. Listen, I got a lot to cover tonight, but I don't call you to pontificate. I call for your opinions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, listen, Stephen, I ain't getting any younger. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm not smart, but look, I don't think Bryce is coming back. Do I? Of course I want him to. Of course I do. Love the kid. But, and I got to disagree with you for a rare time. I don't think he'll be the number one pick in the draft. I think that he'll be limited in terms of the draft, not in terms of his skill set, just because of his size. You got to liken Bryce to like a Russell Wilson, and he didn't go first. I don't expect Bryce to go first. So I think he'd be giving up closer to like $30 million. But rookie contracts in the NFL are guaranteed. I still don't think he'll do it. But my thing is, again, like in the bowl game when Mac played against Michigan, I think that was key in his development. He had a couple of picks, but he threw for touchdowns. And even then, I didn't think he'd start. I thought Bryce would start the following season. But, it proved how much more Saban knows than me. You know what I mean? Because Mac was the perfect fit for that team. Now I want to get to my man Keeley. I got to tell you, I didn't know about your show when Will Anderson signed. I don't even know if you had one. But I put Will on Facebook, and I was like, look who we have. Who's going to stop this guy? I feel the same way about Keeley. And I believe he's a little bit bigger than Will. I think he is. I think he's a little bit bigger. And I even think, you never know how these kids are going to grow. He might even be a possible defensive end rather than like just a pure edge. I don't know, but that guy looks unstoppable, and I'm thrilled. How about you?
I'm thrilled to have Keeley in here. He's got a lot of ranginess. Got a lot of quick twitch ability off the edge. The last thing Alabama needs now is to get James Smith and Quay Rousseau out of Carver High School in Montgomery. I know they're a package deal. Go ahead, finish up the class by getting those two. James Smith, you're going to have a nasty, disruptive defensive tackle. Quay Rousseau can play either inside linebacker or outside linebacker. You end the class with getting those two because your defensive back class is strong. Your offensive line class is strong. You got a couple of receivers in this class. You got your two stud running backs. You got two quarterbacks. Go ahead and end this with James Smith and Quay Rousseau to put with Keon Keeley.
Oh, I hear that. And as far as running back, I'm going to stick with my man, Jamarian Miller. I think Jamarian, I'm going to liken him to Damian Harris. I like that one cut, and you need strong guys like that. You know what I mean? You need strong guys. You need speed guys. And, Damian didn't do it all alone. He had Josh. It was like good, that 1-2 punch, because running backs, they get murdered. You know what I mean? You need like a deep room. You got to have that, And that's all I got for tonight. I'd love for your feedback about what I said about Bryce. And once again, got to compliment you and your show, your staff. You do a great job. It's an honor to be a part of this show, Stephen.
Absolutely. Appreciate my man Bill from New York calling in there. His thoughts on Bryce. Bryce could be the number one overall pick, but at the very least, he'll go top 5. I mean, Bryce Young will go top 5. It depends on what will the draft order look like, Eli. And I think before the Sugar Bowl, I'm going to get a quick peek at the draft order and how it would look like, because I want to see, where are the Houston Texans? Could you imagine Bryce and Mechie back together again? Bryce Young and John Mechie. Because you got to believe Mechie will be back playing next season. I know he's been fighting through the curable form of leukemia, and he's been doing great as far as the treatment. He's been out there still traveling with the team, even though he's not playing for the Texans this year. I think Mechie will be back next season. So if the Texans were to draft Mechie, could you imagine Bryce Young and John Mechie together again in Houston? Boy, that'll be fun to watch right there. But we'll see how that whole draft thing shakes out. But we take this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Steven, what's going on, my man? This is Sean from Huntsville.
Sean, what's going on, brother?
How you been, brother? You been good?
Man, I've been fantastic, man. Trying to finish up this last end shift Christmas shopping so I can finally sit back and say, you done good, man. You done good.
Exactly. Let me go ahead and say, everybody give prayers, man, in your quiet time for Mike Leach. Hope that man is okay, man. Hate hearing stuff like that. You know, definitely prayers for Coach Leach. But as far as Bryce going to the league and things of that nature, I was fortunate enough to play ball with guys in college that went to the league. You know, played with Robert Mathis, Kenyon Hambrick, Michael Pickney. And before I got there, Joe Patton, all these guys I'm still cool with. I still talk to, so I know the ins and outs of the league. Man, listen, you know, the fan in me, the fan of the University of Alabama and all athletics of the university, I would love nothing more but to have Bryce back. That would be an absolute dream come true. Man, I would love to have Bryce back for one more year. But the reality is, man, they're talking about this guy in the same light as Trevor Lawrence was last year, same light as Joe Burrow, Zach Wilson, all these guys that went 1 and 2 overall. They talking about Bryce in the same way. That's anywhere from $43 to $51 million, man.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, I saw that guy waving. That was his Kobe Bryant farewell. I love y'all. I saw that. That cat was tearing up on the field. That ain't somebody who's coming back to Alabama. You just can't turn that type of money down, brother. I mean, I would love to have him back, but you just can't turn that down, man. You just can't. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the guy.
You can't, Sean. You can't. You're right. You really can't. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce has already been having conversations with Jalen Milroe saying it's yours. Or he's probably had a conversation with Ty Simpson saying, man, it's yours.
Yeah. All facts, and I'll end with this, man. The young men are transferring. I read Fadarian Mass's tweet, and it's so true. Fadarian said he wasn't running from no smoke. You know, the guys in front of him, look at Deron Payne, look at Quentin Williams, look at Raekwon Davis, look at all these guys who played in front of him, man. And he stayed, and look at him now. The bottom line is, if they want to leave, God bless them. Enter Shaz Preston, enter Henderson, enter the young man coming in, Jalen Hill. We got people that's going to take their place, man. So they want to go chase the money. They want to transfer. The grass is not always green on the other side, brother. It's not, and you'll see that. But listen, you go ahead, man. I know you got other callers. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Love y'all guys to death. Roll Tide forever. And as always, a brother will continue to support.
Appreciate my man Sean from Huntsville calling in right here on a Monday. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Roll Tide, Steven. It's your boy Chris from Ballard Sports Media on YouTube. How you guys feeling?
Doing good, Chris. Doing good. Alabama getting Keon Keeley, the 5-star from Florida in this 2023 class on the defensive line. Just waiting to hear from James Smith and Quay Russaw, the duo out of Carver High School in Montgomery.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. This class is looking pretty stacked, which actually brings me to this question. You know, and I hope it's going to make some sense, but Alabama loses 2 games this year. Still hanging on, still recruiting. But what about the mindset of a recruit, you think, that, you know, do you think it's one of those where they look at Alabama after losing 2 games and it's like, hey, these guys really need my help. They could use me. I know it's not over. And they look at the history of Alabama and the legends. I mean, the university slogan is like, where legends are made, of course. And, you know, that I'm sure has a lot of ties to the football program. You know, I guess my question is, why go to Alabama even after a down year? I don't blame them. As a fan, bring it. Come on. We need your help. But you would think with how Georgia's doing, with how Ohio State's doing, you know, these teams that have had maybe a better season this year, they would go there. But they continue coming to Alabama. What's up, man?
I'll say this, Chris. It's, yes, the history, but I think this wave of kids, they got a different mindset. This wave of young men, I got a chance to talk with our own Justin Smith about this. And this wave of athlete coming in, 2022 and 2023, 2024 as well, they're about, we can reset the culture. we can put the culture back where it needs to be at. And these young men are serious about it. You look at a guy like a Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is the number one safety in this class. The last time Alabama had the number one safety, it was 2012 with Landon Collins. Caleb Downs could easily go to Georgia. After winning the state championship, Caleb Downs goes, I'm about to chase a ring at Alabama. Why? Because he wants to reset the culture. Jaleel Hurley saying the same thing. Tony Mitchell saying the same thing. Everybody that's been recruited on the offensive line saying the same thing. Justice Haynes, who's a Georgia legend, has seeked out Bo Scarborough to be his mentor. And he's telling Bo Scarborough, hey, I want to reset this culture. Like, these guys are coming in here with the mindset of, yes, we know we're going to get playing time. Quite a few of us are probably going to even start, but we're coming in here with the idea of we finna put the culture back where it needs to be at.
That makes a lot of sense, man. I like how you're saying that, too. Reset the culture. And like I said, too, I hope that no Alabama fan listening is like, what's he talking about or anything. Like, because I think it kind of makes sense because you have this team in Georgia coming up. You got Ohio State coming up, and Alabama just took a down year, and it might seem like a little bit, in a way, maybe Alabama's going in a downward direction. But like you said, I like that you kept saying reset the culture. These guys want to reset the culture of Tuscaloosa and say, let me show you what we mean by the standard.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of this is also, Chris, you got to think, Coach Saban is getting back to getting the in-state guys, the guys from the state of Alabama that understand what it means to play Crimson Tide football because they've heard it all their lives. You look at this 2023 class, several guys from in-state. The 2024 class, already building up with quite a few guys from in-state. Even this recent 2022 class that came in, some of those guys, in-state guys. Saban's getting back to, if I want to have the heart of the program that understands what it means to put on that crimson jersey, I got to get back to recruiting the in-state kids to where they grew up 5, 6, 7 years old. Their granddad talked about it. Their dad talked about it. Their uncle talked about it. Their big cousin talked about it. It was shared in barber shops. It was shared in grocery stores. It was shared in the streets. I got to get back to getting those kids.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, I wish you guys, with Christmas around the corner, very Merry Christmas. And I hope you all are doing well. Keep up the great content at TDA. And we love you guys. Roll Tide.
Appreciate my man Chris calling in there, Ballard Sports Media, helping us out right here on the show. We grabbed this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, this is Eric from Georgia. How you doing today, Steven?
Doing great, Eric, and yourself?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. I'm just listening to all the callers. I really want to kind of get back to what your lead recruiter said, Justin, and he made a key point. What us Bama fans, what we kind of don't want to talk about is, what 2023 is really going to look like. He mentioned all those available spots that's going to be on the offense and defensive side of the ball. To get to your topic about Bryce coming back, you got to look at what exactly is Bryce coming back to. It was different when Mac came back. When Mac was there. He had Najee, he had that offensive line, he had that defensive line, he knew those wide receivers, he had Devontae. Think about what Mac had when he won that championship. Now let's all picture what 2023 is going to look like, if Bryce comes back. You got a new running back. You got a new offensive line. You're going to have a new tight end. Who knows what the wide receiver room is going to look like. Then now let's go to the defensive side of the ball. You might have new corners. You're going to have new interiors. You know, you got to look at new linebackers. And then, by the way, if we still have Bill O'Brien up there in the booth, you got to look at, hey, what are you setting me up for? So that's the kind of the point and we already knew we didn't get it in 2021. We didn't get it this year. So we had to get it in those 2 years, Steven. We had to get it in 21. We had to get it this year because we all knew what 2023 was going to look like. And it was going to look like a complete new team. Not saying it's a bad team, but this year coming up is definitely going to be a rebuilding year. Doesn't matter how you cut it. We got a lot of open spots. And this transfer portal, it's eating our guys up. We don't know who else is next. And I get it. We got a lot of new talent coming in. But at the end of the day, I think Bryce should go ahead and leave because we're not setting him up for success. We got to be honest with ourselves. We're not setting him up to go ahead and win that championship. You're going to have a lot of new faces on that. And, hey, I appreciate you taking my call. Love the show. And I'll hang up and listen to what you got to say, Steve. Thank you, man. Roll Tide.
Appreciate Eric from Georgia with a very interesting perspective there. What would Bryce come back to? He would come back to new faces on the offensive line, though. Seth McLaughlin would be back at center. You would have J.C. Latham back at offensive tackle, probably at left tackle. You could maybe move Tyler Booker to right tackle. You would have a new tight end, absolutely. You wouldn't have a new running back. Jace McClellan's been playing for quite a while, so you would have Jace McClellan. You would have Roydell Williams. You would have those two. Receiver would be a question because even though you would have Jermaine Burton back, even though you would have Ja'Cory Brooks back, even though you would have Kobe Prentice and Shaz Preston and Kendrick Law and Isaiah Bond and those guys back, those guys being able to successfully catch the football every single time. You look at Booth O'Brien. That's my name for him. Booth O'Brien back as the offensive coordinator. So good point there from Eric. Good point there. A lot of good conversation here in Bryce Young. What do? You come back and try for that natty, or do you go ahead on, cash that check into the NFL? We'll take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steven? It's your boy, Coach Smoot, man. How's it going?
My man, Coach Smoot. What's happening, man?
Man, nothing much, man. Just sitting here listening to the calls, man, and hearing a lot of different perspectives on the Bryce Young move, man. And you know me, man. I'm all for the next chapter, man. I've been very vocal about Alabama go ahead and turning the page totally to the next chapter. We need to go ahead and that's from the top to the bottom, man. If we're going to see the best that Saban has to offer, it's not going to be with this staff, nor is it going to be with this core group of players that we were looking forward to lean on this year. And I'm a fan that personally believes that a lot of this domino effect, the reason why it looks so bad, is majority and because of the staff. The offensive coordinator, for one, being Bob. And then the inexperience in Pete Golden as a defensive coordinator. So I feel like that's had a lot of effect on why guys are leaving. Some guys are not trying to chance it because we even look at last year when a lot of guys should have been getting more reps and should have been getting more looks. You talk about JoJo Earl last year. They didn't get the type of reps and looks that he should have gotten last year as an explosive player that he was. I feel like they capped him because, when it came time, Ajayi Hall, guys like that, when it came time for those guys to be put on the spot, they did not have the experience, and that all came down to the type of play calling and scheme that was, set up for them. We got to see Bryce be superhero last year, but, teams, it's not hard to adjust to that when you don't have anything going on downfield. So if I'm Bryce, I'm definitely going to the league. And we all know that the college football is becoming more, I guess you could say transitional, more of a transitional stage to prep these players for the NFL with the NIL, with the transfer portal. Things are setting it up to get these guys business minded. and ready for the league, and also for those that don't get to make it to the league, for them to maximize, their college careers with whatever they can, as far as their name, image, and likeness, because you think about how many teams had great running backs that, their offensive line, they don't get the jersey sales and, commercial plays later on and after they careers are over, they don't make it to the league, but they were definitely great college offensive linemen. So, this whole landscape of college football changing definitely is going to play into it. And Bryce is a smart young man. He comes from a smart family, and they're going to make a smart business decision because they know just as well as any football player or athlete knows, or coach knows, anybody that's around athletics on that level, any level, honestly, you can be out there and be just going through a workout and your career could be over from one false move. So you have to play the security game with your future, and even more so now than in the past. So I definitely see it being a business decision. Will pride set in and allow Bryce to, say, I got something to prove? Honestly, I feel like he's capped. We've seen him for 2 years, refuse to be a run first quarterback, and me personally, if I'm a scout, I'm saying I would like to see him do that at this level more, but I can live with his ability to extend plays and create plays downfield for receivers. And at that level, you got top tier receivers in the NFL. You're not dealing with a shaky 3-star or a shaky 4-star that's too, the lights are too big. You're dealing with guys that are ready. So definitely go to the next level and make your money. But I'm more so concerned with this offensive coordinator situation here at Bama. I would love to see for a Bill O'Brien announcement being gone. I would love to see it happen before the bowl game, but we know Saban is, a guy structured, and he wants things squared away, even if it's going to be his last hurrah. But at the same time, I kind of question it because we saw him allow Steve Sarkisian. No, he allowed Lane Kiffin to leave before the national championship. And that team was actually set. We could have won that game, I believe, with Lane Kiffin calling the game. It just didn't feel like it was a comfortable play calling game, and it was just one of those things. But like I said, we definitely got to reestablish that culture, and I do believe what the last caller was saying with these freshmen, these incoming freshmen in the 23 class. 22 class already showed that they're ready to get out there and pop something. Guys like Perry, Otis, even when the linebackers got out there, I believe, I think that was Sean Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy and Campbell.
Yeah, those guys, both of them got out there in the Iron Bowl and showed that they were ready. And you got guys like Jaleel Hurley and Caleb Downs coming in next year. Offensively, I'm ready to see Jalen Milroe. I see the comments about, Jalen Milroe not being ready. Guys, Jalen Milroe can go to any school in the nation right now and become a starter with any competent quarterback. Any competent coordinator will line an offense to fit Milroe's skill set because you have basically a running back at quarterback with a strong arm who can really, even if he's forced, we've seen Milroe throw from the pocket and a comfortable pocket and make great plays. When there's opportunities, but you gotta really scheme for a player like that, an athletic quarterback. He's not just an athlete; he's an athletic quarterback because he can make the throws. He can make every throw on the field. It's about being comfortable in the scheme, and you find a quarterback, a coordinator that can do that, or even a quarterback coach that can really push him to the next level to get deeper into being able to break down coverages and make quicker decisions and trust his decisions, and not be robotic in, how he has to read a defense. Those small things matter when developing a quarterback, and I don't see that happening with Bill O'Brien. So Bryce, next chapter, next man up, Jalen Milroe, and that offense is going to have an opportunity to do something special next year. So just ready for this bowl game to hit, Steven, and just keep on, watching this thing evolve. But I appreciate you taking my call, man. Once again, Roll Tide. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Blue Wrench Gang. Stand up, man. We holding it down. Hey, Steven, I've been rocking with the show for 2 years now. I just want you to know that.
Hey, Coach, I know. I know. I 100% know. Appreciate Coach Smook there calling in on a Monday. And everybody that's been rocking with the show. We started this in studio 2020. Prior to 2020, we were just putting videos together 2019, but we officially went to studio in 2020. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, this is Kyron from Albuquerque, Kyran. How you doing?
Doing great, Kyron, and yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I was just listening to the show tonight, and it just had a few things that I kind of wanted to say. The whole Bryce Young situation, everyone's made pretty good points. And I think the one important point in that is that next season, one of two things are going to happen. Either there's going to be a new coordinator, offensive coordinator, or you're going to have Bill O'Brien. Neither are great options for a guy that's a potential, top pick at quarterback. You're either going to have Bill O'Brien, or you're going to have to learn a whole new system with receivers that don't have experience, because a lot of them are in the portal. So with that, I would say it's probably not a good idea for Bryce to come back. My second point is that we've been dealing with this talk of Bill O'Brien coming back and the Pete Golden coming back. I think one people have to realize. All right, so me personally, I've worked in contracts. I was a contract specialist at a university here, so I kind of have an idea of kind of what the situation is from a legal and business standpoint. We have to remember. So Bill O'Brien's was under a 2-year deal. His deal, I believe, ends sometime in February. Alabama finished 10-2. That's not great by Alabama standards, but in the greater scheme of college football, that's pretty good. So my thinking is you can't justify terminating someone for cause at 10-2. If they're 2-10, yes. So when there's, and you can't justify that buyout either, because if they were to have terminated O'Brien, they would have to buy out the remainder of his contract. So you also have to have approval from the athletic director, more than likely the college president, maybe even the board members for that to happen. So the reason he probably was not let go is for that simple reason, that even though Alabama was 10-2, you can't justify a reason to terminate him for that. Now, so going forward, I strongly believe he will not be back next year. In terms of dates, usually there's a certain window in which you can kind of explore the options or kind of let news be known that your contract is expiring. It's usually 30, 60, or 90 days. Right now, we're kind of in that window. So I predict after the bowl game, we're going to find out that he's leaving. And we also have to understand, Bill O'Brien's a guy. He's not a young, hungry recruiter that has to prove himself. This man's been a head coach at the highest level at the NFL. He probably does not want to come back. He probably wants to go back to that in some capacity, whether that's a coordinator at the NFL level. So I highly doubt that he's going to come back either way. It's just going to be the fact that he's not being fired, just going to let his contract expire, and they're going to bring in a new coordinator. So my point is, I think everybody just needs to chill. I highly doubt Bill O'Brien's coming back next year because of his contract and because he probably does not want to come back. He probably wants to go to the NFL, be head coach again. That's all I got.
Appreciate Kyron there for that call right there. And Bill O'Brien's contract does end as of February 28th of 2023. So that's the logistics right there. February 28th of 2023 would wrap up the 2-year deal on Bill O'Brien's contract. So appreciate Kyron there for that call. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hello?
You're live on the show.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Doing good, and yourself?
Doing good. This is Pat calling from Atlanta.
Okay, Pat, what's happening?
Nothing much, man. I just wanted to call in and kind of say that if O'Brien and Pete was doing such a good job, then why they haven't had any offers by now? Especially Pete being a defensive coordinator. he hasn't had any head coaching offers, by now. That's kind of strange as a coach,
I see that. I mean, and I agree with that because normally if you're out there and you are doing a stand-up job on whatever side of the ball you're coaching on, quite naturally by your second year, third year, you'll start to get some buzz. You'll start to get some coaches. You'll start to get some teams offering you. I remember, I think it was either 2010 or 2011. Kirby Smart has started to get people calling his phone, but he waited until the best offer came for him, which was Georgia. Jeremy Pruitt, kind of the same thing. When Pruitt took the Tennessee job, Tennessee was not the first. Pruitt wasn't Tennessee's first option. Tennessee sort of backed its way into Pruitt, but the point being that, when you are exceptional at your job, it's not going to take long for other people to notice that.
Right, it's not going to take long. That's the only thing I called in for, just really waiting on the time whenever O'Brien gets a call or he finds something else and get into either Garrett Riley or go back and get Pruitt for defense, and that's really it. You pretty much set then. Like those guys that played for Jeremy Pruitt, like how crazy Mac Wilson was about him. Just players in general was crazy about Jeremy Pruitt.
Not just Mac Wilson, man. Jeremy Pruitt named his baby boy after Ryan Anderson and Reuben Foster.
Right. So we just hopefully, that time will come. We can get back to regular scheduled programming because this year was just a horror to watch. This year wasn't even it. And then regardless, we lost about two games by 4 points. It just wasn't Alabama football. That's the biggest thing. It just wasn't. You just turned on to watch it, but it's just like, it just was irritating to watch. So hopefully we get back to it next year and roll tide.
Appreciate Pat calling in from Atlanta right there. And just so many of you as the Alabama football faithful sharing the same sentiment. It's not the fact that Alabama lost 2 games. That's not it. There have been years where Alabama under Nick Saban that they've lost 1 game or 2 games, or the 2010 year 3 games, but you still saw the passion, the effort, the fight, the toughness, the discipline, the commitment, the want to be great, even in those years where Bama had a loss or 2. This year, you didn't see the discipline. You didn't see the energy most of the time. When they came out the tunnel, you didn't see nobody hyped up and ready to play. You didn't see the big plays. You just didn't see the strong football that we're accustomed to. So, hopefully, upon the end of the bowl game, moves will be made. Dominoes will fall. Chess pieces will be activated. We'll see where it goes to from there. Guys, show some love for Agar Thomas with that $75 donation. Super Chess, appreciate Agar Thomas. Brian Watson drops in here with that $4.99 donation right there. Daily Super Chat Go, $100. Daily Super Chat Go, $100. Appreciate the support from you guys. Continue hitting that like button. Liking the show. Just that thumbs up right there. Going to a cool call topic. Folks, how about Jalen Hurts? I mean, he's gone from people saying he's not an accurate quarterback. He cannot be a precision passer. Doesn't have timing on his throws. He's just an athlete. He should play running back. His game is not going to transition to the next level. The Eagles wasted a second-round pick on Jalen Hurts. There's all the criticism. People don't realize Jalen Hurts is, if the MVP race was to end right now, he wins it. He wins it. The Eagles are 12-1. They're in the playoffs. Number 1 team in the NFC. Make it home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Eli, do people not realize Jalen Hurts has 8 games this season with 2+ touchdown passes? Not touchdown runs. touchdown passes. 8 games, at least 2 touchdown passes. Jalen Hurts has 8 games with a passer rating of 100 or better. 8 games. Jalen Hurts has, 32 total scores this year? He only has 3 picks. He's only got 3 interceptions. I mean, the guy's played 4 consecutive games without a pick. He was balling. I mean, insane balling. He's square he's MVP, Pro Bowl, playoffs, trying to have a Super Bowl run. Jalen Hurts is balling right now. Insane. And along with that, how about Will Anderson one time? Will Anderson closing in on being a unanimous All-American. 2-time unanimous All-American. He needs 2 more selectors to do that. Despite him not having the numbers he had last year, Anderson still putting up production there for your Crimson Tide. We're going to take our final break here, folks. When we get back, we'll get into more of Will Anderson and how he was able to rack up awards this season as the most fearsome defensive player in college football. We'll wrap it up with that after this.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, what's happening? What's going on? How we feeling? Back into the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, talking Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Got the man Eli Walker in the production studio. Folks, don't forget, tomorrow you got the Bama Standard streaming live on TDA's YouTube channel, 6 p.m. Central Time, with Justin Riley, comedy legend Steve Brown, all-SEC linebacker and Bama legend Marvin Constant, 2-time national championship running back and USFL champion Bo Scarborough. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, will be joined live by former Alabama legend Salim Rashid coming on the show. And the pass rushing Tasmanian devil himself, Tim Williams, will be joining. We got the legend, we got the comedy, we got the popcorn, we got the laughter, we got not being politically correct. All of that. The Bama Standard tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time, streaming. TDA YouTube channel. Get there on tomorrow. But, Eli, we wrap this up with Will Anderson, Terminator, Theo Will, Stay Anderson, any other nicknames that he cares to have out there in the open public. Will Anderson, what a career. What a career for him. And another guy joining Bryce Young that will be a top 5 pick in the draft next April. But is Will Anderson the most dominant defensive player in the Saban era? The awards he has racked up say that. I mean, he stands behind Derek Thomas for most career sacks in history. Derek Thomas, 52. Will Anderson, 34 and a half. Will Anderson also 62 tackles for loss in his career. Second to Derek Thomas also. Anderson, this season, not the gaudy numbers he had from his sophomore campaign, but still good. 51 tackles for him. 17 tackles for loss, led the team. One of the tops in the SEC in the nation. 10 sacks, led the team. 12 quarterback hurries, led the team. Pass breakup, a blocked field goal, and an interception return 25 yards for a touchdown. That line there on one Will Anderson. At the College Football Award Show by ESPN, Will Anderson swept the award show in terms of honors won at his position. Will Anderson, the Bronco Nagurski Trophy winner, repeats as the Bronco Nagurski winner. That honor goes to the best defensive player in college football. He gets the Chuck Bednarik Award, which goes to college football's Defensive Player of the Year from the Football Writers Association of America. Will got the Rotary Lombardi Award, which goes to the nation's top offensive or defensive lineman, honored by the great Vince Lombardi. Will Anderson, SEC Defensive Player of the Year from the Associated Press and SEC coaches. He wins that for a second consecutive year. Will Anderson, the Lott Impact Trophy winner. Will Anderson right now a consensus All-American. Wow. And that's just this year. It's not for career. That's just for this year. Will Anderson, a first-team All-American selection from the Walter Camp Football Foundation, from the Football Writers Association of America, and from the Associated Press. He needs two more selectors. He needs Sporting News, and he needs the American Football Coaches Association, or the AFCA. Those two selectors name him a first-team All-American. Will Anderson will be a two-time unanimous All-American. Big stuff there for Will Anderson. And just despite, Alabama not in the college football playoff, despite Alabama not winning the SEC championship, Anderson still put in numbers. Anderson still comes home with a trophy case full of awards. Anderson named a permanent team captain, voted on by his peers. Anderson, who, along with Bryce Young and 11 other football players, graduated over the weekend. Anderson got his bachelor's degree in communications in 3 years. Congrats to Will, preparing himself for life after football, getting that degree. He will be top 5 pick in the draft come April. Will he play in the Sugar Bowl? Good. We'll see. Nick Saban speaks Friday to start that Sugar Bowl prep. Maybe the media will ask, have you talked to Will and Bryce yet? They going to play in the Sugar Bowl? Are they going to opt out? Maybe Eli, I may have to be the brave soldier to ask that question. Maybe the bullet falls on me. Tends to always happen that way. But folks, as always, you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple. Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered right there. Good and gracious Lord C. Spit, I'll try to be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link found in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join. Become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description. Please be reminded, tomorrow, streaming live, 6 p.m. Central Time, for TDA YouTube channel. We got the Bama Standard with Justin Riley, comedy legend Steve Brown, all SEC linebacker and Bama legend Marvin Constant, two-time national champion and USFL champion Bo Scarborough, yours truly Stephen M. Smith, our two special guests, former Bama legend Salim Rashid, and pass rushing specialist Tim Williams. Got the fun, got the laughter, got the comedy. Bama Legends. Come on right there. PDA YouTube channel at 6 p.m., the Bama Standard. Guys, shout out my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, coming on here. Talking 2023 signing class. Guys, shout out you guys, the incredible fans of Bama football. All the likes, the calls, the donations, the chats. Eli, I think we hit our goal of $100. I think we have. Somebody donated. Let's see who this person is, Eli. As you're getting the horn going right now, we got a shout out here. Eli, you got the name pulled up, man? I can't quite see the name. Gotta get this name here to get the shout out right here as we hit the super chat goal of $100 here. As Eli is working on pulling it up. Ask Bama Girl with that $10 donation. Ask Bama Girl, we appreciate you. Round this off. Hitting that daily super chat goal of $100 right there. Thanks to all that you do. Thanks to Eli Walker in that production studio. Giving his all every day. Making this show what it is here. Till next time, folks. Husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, you guys continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored there. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.